Ukraine is in trouble. Russia has learned from its mistakes during the war and has now grown into an unstoppable beast of a military. If Ukraine would stand a chance once again against Russia, the West must get even more involved by sending weapons that Russia would truly fear. And this is where Australia comes in, with some of the most lethal fighter jets in the world. Lethal enough to change the tides of the war heavily in favor of Ukraine. All of these will be discussed in this video, starting with news of Russia's lessons and Ukraine's aid. The war in Ukraine has been a mixture of wins and losses for both nations directly involved. However, as Ukraine continued to make massive strides, Russia was learning from its mistakes made and, more importantly, correcting them. For one, Russia began to rationalize its roster to be more effective. The less experienced soldiers were deployed to attack and destabilize Ukrainian lines, while the more experienced, better equipped units are subjected to less risk by operating a distance away from the front lines. This way, Russia's elite units are harder to capture or destroy. Russia also reduced the spacing out of its artillery units, making them more difficult to take out individually by Ukrainian forces. Furthermore, Russia inefficiently burned through 12 million artillery rounds last year. That's almost 500% more artillery rounds than the entire country produces annually. To keep those numbers in check, Russia cut down and downgraded its ammo supply, then began employing other methods more often, such as highly precise kamikaze drones and laser-guided shells. This prioritizes quality strikes over quantity. The American-built HIMARS operating in Ukraine has also been some sort of kryptonite to Russia, dealing massive destructive blows every time it launched its GPS-guided missile salvo. Russia, understanding this, began protecting headquarters and important depots with GPS jamming tools, throwing off the accuracy of the HIMARS munitions. And the list of Russian improvements keeps going. It's almost endless. More secure communications, improved electronic warfare, and so on. And the improvements have been so effective that Ukraine is now in dire need of more support from the West in the form of fighter jets. And so they're getting them. Ukraine getting fighter jets. After months of request, Ukraine is now closer than ever to getting advanced fighter jets from the West, particularly the FA-18 Hornet, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and the Swedish JAS-39 Gripen. The Swedish government has already formally announced plans to provide training to pilots and ground personnel from Ukraine on the operation and maintenance of JAS-39 Gripen fighter jets. The FA-18 is likely coming from Australia, as the Ukrainian ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Mirosenchenko, revealed to the media early in June that Ukraine was already studying the possibility of acquiring some or all of Australia's 46 remaining FA-18A and two-seat FA-18B Hornet jets. The U.S. has already indicated that it is favorably disposed to Australia giving the American-designed jets to Ukraine, having been assured that the jets wouldn't be used over Russian airspace, which could escalate the war greatly. Ukraine is expected to receive donated F-16s from a number of NATO countries, particularly those in the process of switching to new F-35 Lightning II fighters. The first tranche of F-16s will likely be sourced from the Netherlands. The country has reportedly already generated a three-step training program to train Ukrainian pilots to fly the F-16. The Netherlands wants to start training this summer, so the plane should be ready by winter, just when Russia will probably attempt to attack Ukraine's energy grid again. Now, a closer look at three different fighters from three different nations, all going into Ukraine to compete against each other in taking out the most Russian targets. The FA-18, F-16, JAS Gripen. The three anti-Russia musketeers, renowned for their respective impressive capabilities. Here are those capabilities. FA-18 Hornet. In service for over 4 decades, the FA-18 Hornet is an all-weather, twin-engine, supersonic, carrier-capable multi-role combat aircraft designed as both a fighter and attack aircraft, hence the FA designation. Currently manufactured by Boeing and operated by both the U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Navy, the Hornet is a 1- or 2-seat aircraft with a top speed of Mach 1.8. It has a maximum range of 2,100 miles and a service ceiling of 50,000 feet. It achieves this via two General Electric F404 GE402 afterburning turbofan engines, each producing up to 17,750 lb-f of thrust with afterburners engaged. In terms of armament, the Hornet is armed with the same 20mm M61A1 Vulcan 6-barrel rotary cannon as the F-16, but that on the Hornet can hold a more significant 578 rounds. The Hornet has 9 hardpoints in total that all combine to give the aircraft a payload capacity of 13,700 pounds in holding a combination of rockets, missiles, and both conventional and nuclear bombs. On board is also an advanced suite of avionics, flares, an infrared decoys dispenser pod, and electronic countermeasures pod, among others. The FA-18 has a unit cost of $67.4 million, and a total of 1,480 of them have been built, all operating in 7 nations around the world. F-16 Fighting Falcon. Designed as an air superiority fighter, evolved into a successful multi-role aircraft, and having served in the air forces of 26 nations, the F-16 Fighting Falcon is the celebrity fighter other fighters look to be. It is an innovator that introduced a fair number of the technologies used in modern fighter jets today. The F-16 was the first aircraft to use a fly-by-wire flight control system that helps make it an agile aircraft. It is the first aircraft purpose-built to withstand 9 G-forces during high-angle maneuvers, permitting its pilots to really dig deep into their acrobatic skills and make the most of them. It also introduced the frameless bubble canopy for better visibility, a side-mounted control stick, and a reclined seat to reduce G-force effects on the pilot. The F-16 is a single-engine aircraft that, depending on which exact F-16 is under consideration, is powered by either the F-100 PW200 afterburning turbofan from Pratt & Whitney with a max rating of 29,160 pound-force, or the F-110 GE100 turbofan from General Electric with a max rating of 29,588 pound-force. These engines thrust their respective F-16s to a blurry top speed of Mach 2.05, a maximum range of 2,620 miles, and a space-bordering flight ceiling of 58,000 feet. In terms of armament, the F-16 is equipped with an internal 511-round M61 Vulcan cannon, which is a 6-barrel, air-cooled, electrically fired Gatling-style rotary cannon that fires at an extremely high rate, typically 6,000 rounds per minute. For explosives, the F-16 can carry up to 17,000 pounds of rockets, 10 different types of missiles, 15 different types of conventional and nuclear bombs, electronic warfare countermeasures, navigation, targeting or weapons pods, and fuel tanks shared across its 11 hardpoints. A total of 4,604 F-16s have been built, making it one of the most produced fighters in history. And production still continues to this day. JAS-39 Gripen. The JAS-39 Gripen is the most lethal fighter to come out of Sweden. It is a single or double-seat supersonic multi-role fighter with probably the most customizable, most dynamic weapons payload, airframe, engine, cockpit, avionics, architecture, and electronic warfare systems ever. With canard control surfaces that contribute a positive lift force at all speeds and a delta wing that compensates for the rear stabilizer producing negative lift at high speeds, the Gripen boasts an efficient use of relaxed stability and fly-by-wire flight controls. The fighter is powered by a single Volvo RM12 afterburning turbofan engine which can produce up to 18,000 pound-force of thrust with afterburners engaged. The engine thrusts the Gripen to a top speed of Mach 2 across a maximum range of 2,000 miles and a service ceiling of 50,000 feet. In terms of armament, the Gripen has 8 hardpoints with a total capacity of 11,700 pounds with provisions to carry a combination of 5 different types of missiles, 3 types of bombs, an electronic countermeasures pod, and a digital joint reconnaissance pod. The single-seat version also features a 27mm Mauser BK-27 revolver cannon with 120 rounds. Over 270 Gripen fighters have been built, shared across 7 different nations, the nations benefiting from its very low operating costs. During a study, the Gripen was discovered to have a cost-per-hour flight that's a massive 1/3 less costly than the next best thing, which is the F-16. Being a new fighter, the Gripen also boasts a modern AESA radar with superior detection and tracking capabilities, enhancing its situational awareness to 21st-century heights. The F-16, however, with a more powerful engine, higher top speed, greater range, and scary agility, makes it a more agile fighter than the Gripen. The F-16 and the F/A-18 also both have proven combat records, which makes them more trusted and reliable. The F/A-18, although the slowest, is the largest of the three and therefore can carry larger payloads. Overall, all three of these fighter jets have respective strengths and mission capabilities they can offer to benefit Ukraine. So, as the war rages on in the country, these benefits and the fighters that bring them will be much welcome. They would serve as the first half of Ukraine's solution to Russia's improvements. The second half, which Ukraine equally needs, is for you to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. So do that now, for Ukraine's sake. Thanks for watching.